So how does Leonardo DiCaprio not have an Oscar yet?
Full House has a sequel and Leonardo DiCaprio does not have an Oscar yet. Welcome to On the Level. Everyone is already talking about how this year may be the year that Leonardo DiCaprio finally gets an Oscar for his performance in The Revenant.
So we're gonna discuss some of the movies that prove that he should have won an Oscar already.
And whether or not you've already seen The Revenant, you should check out the video that we did making fun of the critics' reactions to that movie. We're gonna start things off with What's Eating Gilbert, Grape, which came out in 1993. So long ago. He was in that movie co-starring with, or I guess he was the supporting actor with Johnny Depp. He played the brother of Johnny Depp, who Johnny Depp ended up having to take care of, and he was, I believe, autistic. And his performance was so unbelievable and so amazing to people that he actually got nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Didn't win it.
You know, I'm surprised he didn't get nominated for Critters 3.
What?
You know.
It's crazy that he didn't win for this because his performance was so astounding, but this was one of the things that gave us a glimpse of how good he was going to be. And the fact that he's gonna choose roles that, I mean, he's ended up choosing amazing roles.
Yeah.
Not your typical, like, I'm a teenager and I'm gonna choose these stupid blah blah movies. He ain't no Freddie Prinze Jr.
Thank God. We have Romeo and Juliet, one of the Shakespearean movie remakes, and he played Romeo, of course. You know, who didn't want him to play Romeo then?
Right? Every single girl was like, finally.
Teen People was out at that point, right? I'm
Yes.
sure, or something.
For sure. But you know, you have a young kid doing Shakespeare
Very well.
very well.
Very well.
And with a crazy director. And Baz Luhrmann's insane and meticulous and does crazy things. And Romeo and Juliet has a lot of things that you have to do as an actor, like die
Like, say,
and
wherefore
scream.
art thou?
Yes. Yes. It takes its toll on you doing Shakespeare in the first place, but then doing this kind of weird avant-garde, like not modern, but also modern adaptation of it.
With guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to make it accessible to normal people and, you know, girls who find you attractive, because that's a lot of the people who went to see Romeo and Juliet because of Leonardo DiCaprio.
This movie would not get any kind of rave reviews if it was released today.
I don't think so.
No.
Next up, we have the Titanic. Personally, I don't like this movie.
Really? I thought it was like your favorite one.
Not at all.
You have the collector's box set sitting right over there.
No, I don't. And if I did, I would only get it if it was in the shape of a really cool boat.
Like the Lego Titanic.
Exactly.
Yes.
But his performance in this movie is fantastic. It's worth watching just to see him be that good.
And he's really good at drawing in this movie.
Yeah, I'd let him draw me like a French girl.
That's an image I will never get out of my head.
Sorry. An interesting tidbit of information about this movie, though, is he was actually offered the role as Dirk Diggler in Boogie Nights and didn't take it and ended up in Titanic. One amazing decision for the fact that it's better for him. I mean, he was in this huge movie.
Pretty sure Mark Wahlberg played a better version.
Yeah,
in that.
I don't think that Leonardo DiCaprio would have done as well as Dirk Diggler in the first place. So, good decision on his part for sure.
Right.
Although now I kind of want to see him in Boogie Nights.
And Mark Wahlberg in Titanic.
No.
Next we have 2002's Catch Me If You Can.
Awesome.
Yes. This was the movie that made me actually really, really like Leonardo DiCaprio. It was so well done, the pace was great, and just the supporting cast and everything was just fascinating. And what else do you say other than, yes, watch it if you haven't seen it?
One of the things that's great about Leonardo DiCaprio too is that he's acting opposite like just movie powerhouses. And Tom Hanks, I mean, come on. Like he's acting like right next to this guy who just wins awards.
That
like
they
just hand it to him. They just hand him awards.
just take stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't actually go to the award shows. He just walks in the back. They just toss one at him. It's like, thanks, Mr. Hanks. See you next year.
And he's like, but I wasn't even in a movie this year. And they're like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're gonna eventually just give Tom Hanks's out. Not even Oscars. Tom Hanks's to the men, Meryl Streep's to the ladies. That's what the awards are gonna be. Who the heck is Oscar anyway?
His mental breakdown scene in the printing press is in like Italy or somewhere, I can't remember, in some non-English speaking place, when just like that whole scene and then the defeat on him, like after he started working with Tom Hanks, and it was just like what he can do without saying anything at that age is amazing.
Next, we have The Aviator. He played Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
Biopic, absolutely phenomenal job. I mean, this was one of those he hadn't done, at this point, he hadn't really done like epic. He hadn't done epic movie yet. You know, like that.
The Titanic?
What's up?
Like epic epic in what way?
That like really long journey movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like the inner turmoil of the person and just like how awesome these people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Titanic, you can consider it epic, but it didn't go so deep into the character. Like you got to know the character, but it was more like the love story and all that stuff.
Okay.
This is like you learn who he is. He grows, you grow with him. Like it's this just epic thing, and he at this point is the star. There's co-stars, but the whole thing is centered around him. And what a killer job.
Yeah, and him playing Howard Hughes and that whole like mental craziness was you didn't really realize that it was DiCaprio at some point. You know, it's like he even had an interview, like he got so into the character, like it was with Katie Couric, that he admitted that playing Howard Hughes had made him bring back his OCD tendencies that he had as a child. Like that's how much he got into the character.
And that's one of the things about him is you can tell that he prepares and he really just becomes the character.
Yeah.
You know, he's very becoming. I don't know if you realize that.
People gave him the most becoming person of the year, 2002.
Simply for his wispy hair.
Next up, we have Martin Scorsese's The Departed.
Bam.
That was a good movie.
Really good movie.
In case you didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have one of the greatest directors of all time. And then you have one of the most prolific actors of all time. You know, being Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
I mean,
who is his favorite actor and DiCaprio's favorite director as well. Those are two of his biggest favorites in the film world.
But then even you have, you know, Matt Damon, you have Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg is in it, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have these fantastic actors surrounding him, an amazing director, and interesting thing about Jack Nicholson, I mean, if you look up the 100 greatest movies ever made, he's all over that. As far as career, he is one of the most accomplished actors ever, and Leonardo DiCaprio holds his own like crazy.
And he really does not have that many films.
Right.
When it comes down to it. I mean, like, he's done 2-year hiatuses between movies, or longer.
It's about film choice, you know? I mean, people do make those mistakes, and they pick the wrong movie, and they, you know, like a really good actor will be like, yeah, I'll do that one. You know what I mean? Like, it's unfortunate that Tim Curry was in Addams Family 3.
Yeah.
Because he's amazing. For the most part, Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't have a huge list, and most of it's really good.
Yeah. He's like Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
You know, he just picks and waits, and just, he knows what movie is going to be good.
And he also knows what these movies are going to take out of him.
Yeah.
Because he puts his all in there. That came out wrong. Next up, we have Blood Diamond. And if there's ever a movie that can show someone, you know, flipping out,
wow,
it's Blood Diamond.
And
I don't know if you realize this, but you know, Leonardo DiCaprio might be the king of flipping out.
He knows how to lose his mind.
Yeah, he is really good at it. And honestly,
Yeah.
I'd be scared to act opposite him just from the scenes where he's like grabbing people and screaming at them and flipping out.
Want to grab a drink later?
No.
No.
In fact, we're not friends anymore. He just grabbed me and started yelling at me.
Yeah.
And then someone said, cut.
I don't even, where am I now?
He was nominated for Best Actor and did not win it, and this is a movie that he definitely deserved to win an Oscar for.
Completely agree.
Yeah, his performance is phenomenal. The content of the movie was great. The filming of the movie was great. Just all around, it's a phenomenal movie. But you walked out of that movie going, man, is he good? If he keeps the pace that he's going with the movies that he does, he could easily be one of the greatest actors we've ever seen in our lives.
Yeah. So our question for you is, what is your favorite Leonardo DiCaprio movie? Leave that down in the comments. So let's talk about Inception. One of my favorite movies.
Inception is amazing.
It took Christopher Nolan 8 years to write the script, first off, and then cast him. DiCaprio was the only choice for Cobb.
Yeah.
And that's the only one he wanted to do. And we know why now.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I love when a director's like, nope, I'm getting him. Because that just means they know. You know what I mean? And I love, unless it's like being John Malkovich, and then it's like, I'm only getting John Malkovich.
But you ended up with Tom Hanks again.
Tom Hanks.
But then he would have won.
Being Tom Hanks.
Yeah, being Tom Hanks. I want that movie now.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that movie?
I want Being Tom Cruise. Craziest movie ever made.
That is Inception.
That movie's yeah, right. A movie like Inception, first of all, just being insane, the basic idea of it, and
dream within a dream within a dream within
exactly.
a dream within a death.
But also the special effects of the movie and everything. I mean, there's a
practical.
lot that are practical.
That room. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot to take in. A lot to take in, and it's hard. It's really demanding on an actor.
Yeah.
To have a crazy script like that and have it be believable, to have situations like that and really like portray it well, and then have all this crazy stuff going on around you and have to react and have to be a part of that thing.
Yeah.
It's very demanding, and he just did it impeccably. He did it. It
was great.
Perfect. Next we have Django Unchained. Quentin Tarantino directed this, and he's not only a legend, but he's well known for getting crazy performances out of people.
Yes.
Right?
It's insane.
I mean, he just gets crazy performances out of people, and Leonardo DiCaprio is no exception in this at all. His accent is crazy perfect and unbelievable. Like, you just believe it. That's how he talks.
And if you haven't seen the movie, you've probably seen the scene of him yelling and freaking out at Jamie Foxx, Django, and the other guy when he cut his hand. What a lot of people don't know is that he literally actually cut his hand. When he slammed his hand down on the table, he actually hit one of those crystal glasses and just sliced his hand open. Didn't break character, ran out the scene. The blood, when he wiped it on that girl's face, was actually his blood. Medical treatment after with stitches, and that's what made it into the movie.
And that's just insane.
And saved Quentin Tarantino like $10 on fake blood.
Right. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
To continue while you're just bleeding profusely out of your hand.
Using it as the prop. You can see him notice it, like, and he's like, oh, I'm bloody everywhere. And he just doesn't even bat an eye.
And of course, a ton of respect to the other actors for continuing.
Just being able to
and
do
being
that.
able to go.
For her not flipping out.
Right. Because she didn't see it all
Are they friends now?
I don't know. That scene, those other actors would not have been able to continue unless he did.
Yeah.
He didn't miss a beat, and therefore they didn't have a choice but to continue.
It's almost like they were just legitimately terrified.
Yeah.
And they couldn't break character because there wasn't a character to break at that point because they were that. And in 2013, we have The Wolf of Wall Street. How did he not win?
He was nominated for Best Actor and just didn't win it.
We have Scorsese again, who is a genius, as we mentioned earlier.
For
and
sure.
most of this film was technically kind of just like improvised. Not improv, but improvised.
Right.
You know, it's like, which is where Jonah Hill shined in that case. And Jonah Hill actually took a huge pay cut just because he wanted to work with Scorsese.
That's awesome.
He took the SAG minimum to do that.
That's awesome. And worth it.
Worth it.
Totally worth it for him.
Yeah.
There was one situation that Leonardo DiCaprio did where he like closed a door or something like that with his leg or his
foot
or
they were
like
they were making up something. He ended up trying to open the door with his foot and like sprained his back, and he only did it once.
He did it once because he couldn't do it again.
And it made it into the movie.
Yeah.
He likes to hurt himself to make sure that scene's in the movie.
Apparently. But apparently he was so exhausted from making this movie that he decided to take 2 years off. And he said it was because of exhaustion.
And then he did The Revenant. How many years is he going to take off now?
Exactly. The Revenant is crazy. I mean, the cast and himself were dealing with like hypothermia. And
half the crew quit.
Tons of people quit.
Yeah.
And even just for preparation for this thing, he slept inside an animal carcass.
That's dedicated. And swam in frozen rivers. And Leo, we'll see you again in 2020.
So if you love movies and you love to laugh and talk about pretty much whatever, click there to see more of our videos and hit that subscribe button so you can see more from us every single week.
And until we see you guys next time,
geek out and game on. Rose, what is he? I'm trying to think of how he talks.
Boston accent.
Yeah. What are you doing, Rose? I can't do it.
What was that?
I don't know. I can't do it.
I don't know what that was.
I also don't know that many lines from Titanic, to be honest. I know when the guy falls and gets hit by the propeller.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like the only part that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Titanic 2.
It really propelled the movie.